Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB schedule for Wednesday, April 13th, 2022. Now, if you like this video, make sure to give us a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And also leave a comment down below with what your picks are for the games in baseball for Wednesday. Now, if you're looking for my best bets or best bets from some of the top handicappers in the world today, be sure to check out the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into the games for Wednesday, April 13th. For our first game on the board, we're going to talk about the Nationals and Braves here. This is going to be an early afternoon start, 12:20 Eastern. We got two pitchers that are projected here that struggled in their first start of the season. The lefty Max Fried for the Braves and Josiah Gray, the young prospect for the Nationals. Now, not only did both guys struggle in their first start of the season, but they also struggled in spring training. Josiah Gray a 9.31 ERA in spring, Max Fried a 6.43. And in the first start of the season for Fried, he pitched 5 2/3 innings, gave up 8 hits and 5 earned runs, while Gray allowed 8 hits, 4 earned, and a home run in only 4 innings of work. So both of these starters not in the best form early on this season. And to me, we saw the Nationals prove that they're not going to just lay down here in this series. They put up 11 runs on Monday. I think we see some scoring yet again in this game. So I'm going to take the over in the Nationals-Braves just until these two starters can prove that they can shake off the rust early this season. Our next game, we're going to look at the rivalry game between the Cubs and Pirates. Now, in this one, we're going to see the projected starters of Kyle Hendricks and Zach Thompson. And I thought it was a pretty good decision for the Pirates to push back Zach Thompson to pitch on Wednesday rather than Tuesday. His game was rained out on Monday against the Cardinals, and instead of just putting him in as the Tuesday starter, they just went with Jose Quintana, who was the original projected starter. And now I think Thompson matches up a lot better with Hendricks here. Kyle Hendricks didn't pitch very well in spring, but man, he had a nice start on opening day. 5 1/3 innings, only gave up 1 earned run, 5 hits, and 7 strikeouts for Hendricks. And we know him not to really be a strikeout guy. He's more of a pitch-to-contact pitcher. But, 7 Ks and 5 1/3 innings, that's good enough for 11.8 strikeouts per 9 rating. Obviously, he's not going to be able to keep up that pace, but it was a promising sign to see from Hendricks. And I do think Zach Thompson pitched very well in spring, pitched very well with the Marlins last year. I think he's a good option for Pittsburgh in this start as well. So I like the under in this game. I think we're going to see runs hard to come by. I think the total is pretty low for a reason. So give me the under in the Cubs-Pirates. Next up, we have the Cleveland Guardians taking on the Cincinnati Reds. And we have a pretty interesting young pitching matchup on our hands when you look at the projected starters, Tristan McKenzie and Nick Lodolo. Now, McKenzie, he's been a top pitching prospect for the last few years. We just haven't seen anything consistent from him in his career thus far. He did very well in spring training, but struggled out of the gates in the regular season, and where he came out of the bullpen for the first game the Guardians played, gave up 2 hits and 2 earned runs with 2 walks as well. In 3 innings of work, he got the loss in that game against the Royals. Now, on the other side, Nick Lodolo is set to make his major league debut for the Reds just a few days after Hunter Green did, and Hunter Green pitched very well in his long-awaited debut. Now, Lodolo, I think he got called up pretty early. I didn't expect it, but he pitched very well in spring training for Cincinnati, did very well in the minor leagues last year, and it looks like he's ready to go. And I have to back him in this spot. We just haven't seen, like I said, McKenzie give us a consistent effort, and the price is just right for us to take the Reds here. It's not my favorite play on the board, but I'm going to take the Reds on the money line at Great American Ballpark. Next up, we have an interesting matchup between two big rivals in the Mets and Phillies. This will be an afternoon ball game at 1 p.m. Eastern. We've got a pretty exciting starting matchup projected with Max Scherzer going up against Aaron Nola. Now, Aaron Nola, to me, he's not a number 1 guy. I think he's a really solid number 2 or 3 in most rotations. But to be put up against some of the league's best starting pitchers, for me, it's just really tough to back him. Last year, 4.63 ERA. That's not ace-worthy in my opinion. 5.65 ERA in spring. That's not going to get it done either. And he did struggle a bit in the later innings of his first start of the season. He pitched 6 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, and he gave up 2 home runs. Now, most of those issues came late in his start. He was actually pitching really, really well at the beginning. He just went a little bit too long and had gotten into trouble. Max Scherzer, on the other hand, he gave up 3 earned runs, 3 hits, 1 home run. He struck out 6 batters in 6 innings. That's what we're used to seeing from Scherzer. it's not often that we're going to get Scherzer at such a good price here. I do think his numbers are regressing as a pitcher just naturally. I mean, you look at the guy, 3-time Cy Young Award winner. He's in his age 37 season. He's going to regress a bit each and every year, but still, I think he's good enough to be able to compete with Aaron Nola in this spot. And I think the Mets lineup can definitely go toe-to-toe with the Phillies here. Should be a great game, but give me the Mets on the money line in a close one. In our next game, we see the Red Sox take on the Tigers in another afternoon ball game. This one, we have the projected starters of Nathan Eovaldi and Eduardo Rodriguez, and I like the Red Sox on the money line in this game because I think they have the advantage in all three facets of the game: the starting pitching matchup, the bullpen, and the lineup. Eovaldi, he did struggle a bit in his first start of the season, gave up 2 home runs to the Yankees, but I think there were just 2 mistake pitches that he wished he would have back. Other than that, I thought he pitched very well against the Yankees. 7 strikeouts and only 5 innings of work. A pretty good first start of the season. Now, on the other side, Eduardo Rodriguez only went 4 innings against the White Sox on opening day. He had 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, and he only had 2 strikeouts. I think this Red Sox lineup can get after him early. I think Eovaldi has a much sharper start against the Tigers here than he did against the Yankees. And I think the Red Sox win this game on the road. So I'm going to take Boston on the money line. Wednesday's games seem to be filled with entertainment value as we have another one here between the Dodgers and Twins that has another interesting starting pitching matchup. 2 guys making their season debuts and one of them making their team debut with Chris Paddock getting the start for the Twins. He was a late addition that the Twins made in the offseason, while Clayton Kershaw, the projected starter for the Dodgers. We know what we're getting from Kershaw, a big veteran of the game, one of the better pitchers in this generation, 3-time Cy Young, 1-time MVP. He pitched well in spring training. He pitched 4 different times, had 11 2/3 of innings of work, 13 strikeouts, no home runs allowed, just 4 earned runs allowed. While on the other side, Chris Paddock, we know he pitched very well in his rookie season with the Padres, had 3.33 ERA, 9.8 strikeouts per 9. But ever since that season, he's regressed a little bit more and more. The ERA is shot up now to 5.07 in 2021. The strikeouts per 9 has gone down 1.6 to 8.2 now. I just don't trust Paddock in this spot. I don't love the price that we're getting with the Dodgers here, even on the road. So I would think about laying the run line with Los Angeles as the road team just to try to get some of that value back. In our next game, we see an interleague rivalry between the Kansas City Royals and St. Louis Cardinals. Now, Zach Greinke and Jordan Hicks, the projected starters for this one. Jordan Hicks more so of an opener as he's more seen in the bullpen, that he probably won't pitch more than 2 innings in this game. Zach Greinke, on the other hand, a guy that I mentioned the first video I did on Ron's Rundown, a guy that is showing a lot of signs of regression, especially the last year and so far this year. 5 2/3 innings against the Guardians. He only gave up 1 earned run, so it really wasn't too bad of a start when you look at those numbers, but he only had 1 strikeout. He gave up 5 hits, and he just didn't look the same as we've seen him before. He's got an 8.1 strikeouts per 9 rating in his career, but last year a 6.3 strikeouts per 9. It totally plummeted this, from 9 strikeouts per 9 in 2020, 6.3 in 2021, and now we've seen him only strike out 1 batter in 5 2/3 innings against the Guardians. I worry about that for Greinke going forward. It's important as a starting pitcher to miss bats. You can be a pitch to contact guy all you want, but every ball that's put into play runs the risk of getting through, and I do worry about Greinke in this spot and in the season. I think the Cardinals run line is the play I'm going to go with here. I think the Cardinals bats are stronger. I think the bullpen's a lot better, and I do think that they have the advantage in the starting matchup. So give me the Cardinals laying the 1.5 here at home. Next up, we have the Houston Astros taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks, and we have 2 starting pitchers here that are projected that haven't given up an earned run in quite some time. Both Framber Valdez and Merrill Kelly both shut out the opposition in their first starts of the season. Valdez, 6 2/3 innings, 2-hit baseball with 6 strikeouts against the Angels, while Merrill Kelly went 4 strong innings, gave up only 4 hits, 2 walks, and he had 7 strikeouts in that start against the Padres. And both guys also did not give up an earned run in spring training. Now, Kelly did give up 1 run, but it was an unearned run. He had 13 strikeouts in 7 innings, while Valdez pitched only 3 innings of spring, but he had 3 strikeouts, didn't give up a single hit or walk. He hit 1 batter. But both pitchers in really good form going into this season, and in their first start, they looked the same. That gives me a reason to take the under here. You know, the Diamondbacks offense is going to be one of the worst in the league. It's been inconsistent already this season. So I do think that the Astros are going to be the team that scores most of the runs in this one. But the total's a little too steep for me. I think we have some value on the under. So give me the under in Arizona-Houston. Next up, we have another game that could be a pitcher's duel as the Giants take on the Padres. The projected starters, Sean Manaea and Logan Webb. Now, Manaea threw 7 no-hit innings in his first start as a Padre, 7 strikeouts and only 1 walk allowed in that one. On the other side, Logan Webb had a strong start too, 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run allowed, 3 strikeouts. So Manaea definitely had the better numbers, but Logan Webb will take that 1.5 ERA as well. Going into this game, the total is set super low because of how good these pitchers are and because these teams naturally play to the under, especially the Giants at Oracle Park. But I think for me, I'm going to take the Padres on the road. I think we're getting a good price with them here. I do trust Sean Manaea a little bit more than I do Logan Webb. And I do think the Padres lineup can match up pretty well with the Giants here. So give me the Padres on the money line. Just a lean for me, not a game I'm rushing to the window to bet. But I think San Diego takes it. Next up, we have the Oakland A's taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. And this is a spot where I'm willing to take a shot with the plus money dog in the A's here. We already saw on Monday what the A's can do. I mean, they've embraced the underdog role before in seasons past, and this season, not a lot of people expecting much from them this year. They've already surprised with a couple times now with some nice wins as the underdog, and we're getting a lot of plus money here. Frankie Montas, the projected starter for the A's, he didn't do too well in his first start of the season, but he had a very strong 2021, and I think he's going to have a strong 2022 as well. He's a guy that's going to go get you 6-7 innings on a strong start, and even in his weak start where he allowed 5 earned last game, he still pitched 5 innings and had 6 strikeouts, so he's a workhorse pitcher. While on the other side, Shane McClanahan, a guy that I'm a big fan of. I think he's a really good prospect to have. He's just not a guy that can go too deep into ball games right now. He does get into pitch count troubles at times because he's a strikeout guy. He does walk a lot of batters, and he only pitched 4 1/3 innings against a Baltimore Orioles lineup. So, I think the A's have all the value on them in this game, and I think it's worth a shot to take the plus money with Oakland here. Next up, we have another exciting one between the Blue Jays and Yankees. And we have a starting pitching matchup with both of these teams' number ones going into the season, Jose Barrios and Garrett Cole. Now, both starters struggled quite a bit on opening day. Garrett Cole only made it 4 innings, 3 earned runs allowed, a home run, 1 walk, 4 hits. He did have only 3 strikeouts, which is not a lot for Garrett Cole. Now, Jose Barrios, he fared a lot worse. He only made it through 1 out of the first inning, allowed 3 hits, 4 earned runs, a home run, 2 walks, and a hit by pitch. Woof, no strikeouts, obviously. Garrett Cole was paid the big bucks to win these types of games against rivals in the division, good lineups, at home, on the road, in the playoffs. These are the types of games that the Yankees signed Garrett Cole to win. We haven't necessarily seen that from him in his career with the Yanks thus far. He struggled in the wild card game against the Red Sox. He struggled against some of the tougher teams in the division like the Rays and the Red Sox before. But in this start, I expect Cole to go out there and have actually a strong showing. I think he's the better option here. When you look at Barrios, he just hasn't been a number 1. He's a solid number 2, maybe 3 on certain teams. But to put him in as the number 1 role going up against a guy like Garrett Cole, I just can't back him here, especially with the Yankees at home. Give me the Yankees on the money line here. It should be a great game to watch. Next up, we have the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Baltimore Orioles, and in this one we see a strong starting pitching matchup with Corbin Burnes going up against John Means. Burnes, the defending NL Cy Young winner. He did struggle in his first start of the year, 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, and a home run allowed against the Cubs, but I don't think the weather was really helping him there at Wrigley Field. The wind was all over the place, the ball was carrying quite a bit. And I do think he's going to have a much stronger start here and down the season. I think he's one of the best pitchers in the league yet again going into 2022. Now on the other side, John Means, we've seen the best from him. We've seen the worst, but recently we've seen some of the best from John Means. Last year he did throw that no-hitter, and in the first game of the season he kept the Orioles competitive. 4 innings, only 1 earned run allowed, and 5 strikeouts against a good Rays lineup. I think runs are going to be really hard to come by here. I think we see a much stronger start from Corbin Burnes. I don't see the Orioles doing much offensively, and the Brewers' offense has also been a little inconsistent out of the gate. So give me the under in the Brewers-Orioles. In our last game of the night, we see the Seattle Mariners take on the Chicago White Sox. And I'm going to take the Mariners in the first 5 innings of this one. Robbie Ray getting the start for Seattle. Pitched very well against the Twins in his first start. Got the win in that one. And on the other side, the projected starter for the White Sox is Dallas Keuchel, making his season debut here. And to be honest with you guys, I faded Dallas Keuchel quite a bit last year in 2021. I'm just not a big fan of how he's looked in recent seasons. A 5.28 ERA last year, 5.23 FIP. His strikeouts per 9 numbers way down from his career, 5.3 in 2021. I know he's more of a pitch-to-contact guy, but his career strikeouts per 9 is still 6.9, so an off year for Keuchel. In spring training, he didn't look much better, 7.94 ERA. The strikeouts were up a little bit more, but he still gave up 19 hits, 5 walks, 2 home runs, 10 earned runs. So he's just not a guy I can back in this spot, especially in the first 5 innings where starting pitching matters the most. You know, I could see maybe the White Sox lineup getting to the Mariners bullpen late in this one, but I like the Mariners to at least have the lead after the first 5 innings on the road here. So give me the Mariners first 5. And that's it. Those are the games for Wednesday, April 13th. Thanks again for tuning in, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to put your comment down below with what your picks are for the MLB games on Wednesday. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.